Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Benvenue's Corner, where absolutely no news is good news with Ben. Venu. And if you get that obscure reference, you are either showing your age or have some parents that are fans of a certain show from a bygone era. And I'll give you some brownie points for it if you can answer where I got that reference from, who it is, what show it was. So, in my previous episode, I introduced myself, gave you a little bit of background of what I was trying to do with this channel, and explained where I'm going in the future with this. So, in today's episode, I'm basically going to introduce you to the team and the coach, how I managed to get in control of this team, or not how I managed, it's pretty simple, but why I selected a team, why you see these relocation football team logos up here, and just to kind of give you all the background to get immersed in this universe here for the project that I'm doing. So the process that I used for selecting my team was inspired by something I brought up in the last video, is something called the Relocation Football League, where they have taken every single team in the NFL and have relocated them to a new season with a little bit of magic, a file movement and things like that they explain on their site better than I could. And I did my version of that. In a normal version of Madden, you can't do that, so I relocated the entire AFC conference. And then, why I am in, you'll see, I am in season 2034. And the reason for that is because, I got kind of tired of playing with the current NFL players, and I just wanted to get them out of the league, get nothing but auto-generated rookies in here, and let the chips fall where they would, and then make a selection of what team I wanted to use from there. The criteria I had for that was, after all the NFL players got out of there, I wanted to run one more season and see which team needed the most help, which was the worst team in the AFC for a relocation team. Well, it turns out that the team that I am currently using was not only the worst team in the AFC, but they were the worst team in the NFL with a 2-14 record, and that is why you see my coach is the head coach of the Orlando Sentinels. This team has never been good. I think their highest win total in their entire history is 5 on the season, so they've been struggling. They were the Miami Dolphins, so you can understand where their talent pool was coming from. Apparently, they haven't drafted all that well, and I inherited a team with a lot of holes, a lot of weaknesses, only a few bright spots. And when I looked at their roster, I was going to take the team regardless, but I saw, okay, they have drafted a couple of players in that last season before I took over. I have some very few things to build around, but at least I have these parts that I don't have to worry about. I think I can go forward with those players for a few years, maybe more in certain cases. And then I have to sit back, assess the roster, see what I got to work with, where I need to make improvements, and how to move this team forward. So that brings me to the head coach, who is, you'll see his name, Shaq Hennessey. And there is an obscure reference for that as well. I will just say Key and Peele, and if you get it, good. If not, you can look that up on your own maybe, and see what I'm trying to reference there. So what I did is I took over in the off season prior to 2034 so that I could partake in free agency and do the draft. Now, I'm trying to do this somewhat realistically. I realize this is all a fictional universe here, but I could take over a bad team, go in the free agent market, buy 4-5 of the top free agents in one class, and completely revamp my team, and who knows, maybe turn them into a Super Bowl contender just with those moves right there. That's sort of cheating in my opinion. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it a bit more organically, in a way that would make sense. The Miami Dolphins didn't go out and pour a ton of money into the free agent market. They're trying to rebuild through the draft because money is the king, and the less money you have to spend on your team and get it to win, the better. So a lot of teams now, or I would say almost every team now, has gone through, we're going to build through the draft and supplement our team through free agency. And that's what I'm going to do here. I will only get a high-priced free agent if maybe that's the last key piece that I need to get the team to a championship, something like that. But I'm going to basically forego the main free agency period and sort through the leftovers after that and try to rebuild through the draft. So now you got an idea of how I'm going to go about this. So Shaq Hennessey is a former 4-year player in college at the University of Maryland. He graduated with a 3.85 GPA with honors. Very intelligent player. He did not get drafted, though. He doesn't have the prototypical height and maybe size for an NFL offensive lineman, but he did walk on, try out with the Ravens. He didn't make the cut, unfortunately, but he loved football, and he had a great football mind, and decided that he wanted to get into coaching. So he went back to Maryland University, talked to the coaching staff there. They let him come on as an assistant, and then he was an assistant offensive line coach. He became the offensive line coach when the current one had retired. From there, he moved on to offensive coordinator, then got a shot at a head coach, and the Sentinels saw this coach who has a no-nonsense approach, calming influence, a teacher, somebody who tries to get everyone on the same page, working together towards a common goal. That's what they felt they needed, a stabilizing influence, so here they brought in Shaq Hennessey. Now I'm going to go over his schemes and philosophies here. Bear with me, as I am on my PC and trying to get it to behave. So here's my coach and schemes here. Now, I have made a change during the season. When I inherited the team, you'll see the multiple zone run. That is what I'm running now. And it's only a 50% scheme fit. It's not what I was using before because I was trying to get, progress more players, and the more players you have matching the archetypes? Try to get the enunciation there. The more players that you have matching the archetypes that are displayed on the screen there, the better they will get bonuses for their progression points. And while that's important, it's not as important as right players working in that system and success on the field. So I had them running a vertical power run. Let me see if I can find it here for you. I probably went, there we go. And you can see, yeah, it's a better fit for my team. But the trade-off was that the team was kind of struggling out of the gates. I'll go over the schedule so you can see the wins and losses and the scores. My team was struggling to get the wins. Every game was a fight to the end, and was probably decided by a touchdown or less. Until recently, my most recent game, and I'll show you the results of that, when I changed to multiple zone run. And part of the reason why I did that is, if you can read the description up there, it tells you how that offense is going to be run. You don't see play action up there, which for me, play action pass is double-edged swords. If it works, you might get a guy open downfield and get a touchdown. The drawback is, and what happens most often, is your quarterback rolls out or drops back an insanely amount of yards, 10 yards at a time, and he'll stand there, and then he'll back up, and then he'll stand there again. He'll back up, and before you know it, you've lost 17 yards on a sack, and they might do it again on the following play. So for me, play action wasn't worth it. I want to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. I don't want my quarterback to scramble, although he probably could a little bit. We'll get over that a little bit later when I go over the team roster. But yeah, so that tells you how your offense is going to be run. It's, I think, just as important or even more important to pay attention to that than the actual scheme. I'm using New England's playbook, and they tell you how they're going to run this offense. But when I was running the vertical power run, you see up there on the New England, it doesn't say anything about play action passes. But when I was running vertical, we were doing play action quite a bit, and it was annoying. There's another way you can go about that. You could go into your the playbook itself and make sure you adjust your play calling, how much you can rate the plays as far as stars, and the more stars you give them, the more likely they are going to call that play. So you can finagle it a bit that way. I didn't want to dive that deep into it. I probably would if I was, getting more heavily invested in this. But the New England offense, just with the standard multiple zone run settings and everything, resulted in 61 points against a team that I thought was rather good and was an offensive explosion for my team. I was not expecting that. As far as defense goes, for some reason, I don't know why, but I have always had more success with the 3-4 than the 4-3 in this game. And I live in Maryland. The Ravens were my team. And so I'm going with the Baltimore defense. Just tried it out one day, and I just like the way it operates when you get the right talent on the field. And I believe it's easier to find certain talent to get it to work right. Getting big offensive linemen up front, or defensive linemen up front, rather, is fairly easy. There's a lot of run stuffers, power rusher types that you can get. You can get edge rushers fairly easily because you can, turn a defensive end into an outside linebacker in the 3-4, or you can take an actual pass rushing outside linebacker. Either way, the problem that you're going to have is finding the right middle linebackers, because they're going to have to be the guys that do just about everything. They're going to have to be stout against the run. They're going to have to be quick to move all over the field because they're going to have to drop back in coverage. So they got to do it all. And if you don't have a fast enough guy, a guy with agility that can cover ground, he's going to get toasted by tight ends and running backs and wide receivers at times. They just can't hang with them. So you definitely need to have great middle linebackers. You have to have very good man cover cornerbacks. And you have to have one safety that is basically a linebacker, and the other one a center fielder type. That's why Ed Reed was so important to that Ravens defense, because he could cover the entire back end almost by himself. And that allowed the Ravens to bring up another hard-hitting safety to help against the run, and that's one of the things that they did that was so successful against the run when they had those dominant defenses of the past. So, that all being said, I thought it was also the best fit for my team, the talent I had on the field. It wasn't a perfect fit, but you can see most of my team does fit that scheme, so that's good. With the offense, it's going to be a work in progress. I'm going to have to start acquiring talent that fits this profile, but for right now, this seems to be working, at least in the small sample size. And success is more important than progression. The more success you have with your team, the more they're going to progress. So that's what I'd have to say about that. Yeah, it's great to have that extra bonus to the training for your skill points, so you can get your players to power up. But if they're on the field, they're producing, they're getting points, you're winning football games, you're going to get more points that way too. So I would say success on the field is a little more important. But to each their own. I'm not the guru of this game. There's another gentleman that I believe is more skilled at laying out strategies and things like that than myself. I will leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description. It's Jacob Reid, and I used a lot of his information to help craft how I was going to go about things. There were certain things like he has breakdowns of position by position. What stats matter the most? What are you looking for in certain players? And I found a lot of it to be rather helpful. So credit to Jacob Reid, who's also a member of the RFL. He is a head coach of the London Bulldogs team, and he's also a player. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this video out now, and the next one I'm going to be introducing the offense, and I might break it down into 2 videos just because I have that 15-minute window thing right now. And do the offense first, then the defense. Then I will probably do another thing to introduce you to the opponents that I'll be facing in Week 11 matchup before I get into a game and do some play-by-play, which is the ultimate goal. So, again, I'm going to wish you stay happy and healthy. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you next time here on Benvenue's Corner. Take care now.